whatever you wind up doing is exactly what you should be doing.
And I have not behaved one single day of my life. Not one day of my life have I behaved, and I am fine.
I need your help. I can't tell you what it is. You can never ask me about it later, and we're gonna hurt some people.
Whose car are we gonna take?
So fun. Friday food coming up. I will tell you the truth. I dug into it a little bit. I definitely did. But we have a great show to start off with in just a moment. I will be speaking with someone who was often on Station X, on KGO with Pat Thurston, Loretta Lynch, former president of the California Public Utilities Commission. She's obviously a lawyer, a regulatory expert. We are going to dig into the decision to allow PG&E to keep operating the Diablo Canyon Nuclear Power Plant. So we'll be talking about that in just a moment with the Loretta Lynch. Also coming up, we have the Friday food segment. We have Tim Sika on. I love Fridays. We'll be talking movie reviews. We'll also be talking about the new pay lane on 101. How many of you are not happy about that? Also, inflation. It has been a topic of conversation for a long time because of COVID. It is now cutting into people's social activities. And in our social activities, the last thing that people are willing to sacrifice when it comes to where they spend their dollars and cents. All right, so great show coming up, but please, let's start off the show as we always do by clicking the thumbs up. It helps our show grow and get new subscribers. It's simple, it's easy, it's free. Our super chat is live. I thank you all so much for donating during the super chat. And I don't see him in the comments just yet, but when he gets here, you know who we have to sing happy birthday to. It's Andreas' birthday today. One of our huge supporters. He's in the comments. He's in our community. So we have to sing a very happy birthday to Andreas when he joins in. He might not be able to join in. It is his birthday. He might have plans, but I hope he spends a little bit of his birthday with us. Of course, go to the show website, theNikkiMedoroShow.com. You'll find links to past shows, this show, and of course, to become a Patreon subscriber. And we appreciate every single one of you. Okay, so I don't know how I exactly feel necessarily about the headline that came out yesterday that PG&E has been allowed to continue operating the Diablo Canyon Nuclear Power Plant beyond 2025. One line of thinking, of course, is that we need the plant to remain open. I think anything that is operated by PG&E gives me pause for obvious reasons. If you live in California and you know the history with PG&E. Well, there's someone that's joining us now that knows all too well the history with PG&E, and it is the one and only Loretta Lynch. Loretta, former president of the California Public Utilities Commission. You've been on KGO for many years with Pat Thurston. I am so pleased to finally get you on the Nikki Medoro Show.
Nikki, thank you so much for having me.
All right. I'm so glad to be able to get your insight into this. So I guess I just want to start off with your first reaction to this news.
Well, my first reaction was, there they go again. But digging into it, it's actually not as bad as it could be. Okay. So right now we have two reactors at that site, and they are licensed to run through mid-2024 and mid-2025. Right now, nothing we can do about that. The decision from the NRC yesterday allows them to run just a little bit longer. Essentially, they can run while the NRC looks at PG&E's new application. And so for practical purposes, I think that's going to mean 6 months to a year longer than they otherwise would. But we want that in one respect, because PG&E was trying to foist off on the NRC their old 2009 application to get a license extension. And the good news is in January, the NRC said, that is way too old. And by the way, it's way before Fukushima. So you, PG&E, have to submit a brand new application that takes into account all the new safety standards and all the new accidents that have happened since that 2009 application. Then we'll review it. And then yesterday what happened was the NRC said, oh, and by the way, you can keep producing power until we come to a conclusion on this new application, which PG&E hasn't even submitted yet.
I mean, obviously, we haven't seen the application, as you just said. Do you think that PG&E, given its history, would be able to safely operate the Diablo Canyon Nuclear Power Plant, given the earthquake concerns, given the age of the power plants?
No, but it's not necessarily what I think. It's what the scientists think, and also what PG&E can prove. So in this little space of time, which is going to be 3 years, not 2 years, pretty much, let them operate and try to prove up their case. And what that does is one good thing for California consumers. If PG&E didn't have this authority, it's actually an exemption from the rule to keep operating while their new application is filed and considered, then California would have to scramble to go find replacement power. So we don't want consumers to have to pay twice. So this authority allows California to count the power that Diablo Canyon will be producing toward our clean energy and our reliability mandates, so that we don't have to overbuy even more, and then California consumers have to pay more and more, even when we have this Diablo Canyon power available.
Loretta Lynch, Senator Dianne Feinstein was quoted in the LA Times as one, admitting obviously she's changed her mind about the Diablo Canyon shutdown. She changed it last year. And she said in a statement, quote, "This decision will allow Diablo Canyon to serve as a bridge to a clean energy future, maintaining a reliable source of carbon-free power as we continue to invest in renewable energy." Do you think that nuclear power has a place or even a growing place in our energy plan?
Certainly not a growing place, and eventually I hope not a place whatsoever. There are pros and cons to nuclear power. It is cleaner than coal and natural gas, by far. The problem is it's not that safe, as we all know. So what the NRC and California is doing is they are betting that there's not going to be a major earthquake until they can prove that this plant is safe. And frankly, they're betting that every day, because we know that there have been serious safety problems at Diablo Canyon. We know that, and it's one of the reasons why Diablo Canyon is at the bottom of the list when it comes to nuclear plant reliability nationwide. Most nukes run over 95% of the time because they're properly maintained and somewhat safe. This nuke does not. It runs less than 90% of the time because it's old, creaky, and frankly, so far not very safe. So we're really we're playing Russian roulette with the clock in terms of an earthquake and safety here.
That obviously makes everybody very concerned. The adjectives you just used are not adjectives I want to describe a nuclear power plant. And I think everybody would agree with me on this. Okay, so for a little bit longer, you said 6 months, maybe a year to continue operating. So then that begs the question, Loretta, is California really going to be able to take this plant or these plants offline and still meet our goal, which Governor Newsom has set, to have zero emission new cars being sold in the state of California? We want more solar panels, obviously, to help offset some of that. But are we making progress, in your opinion, on doing this, given PG&E is basically a monopoly in the state?
Well, actually, yes, and it depends. So yes, California policymakers have been planning for the shutdown of Diablo for years. PG&E made a deal with environmentalists and consumer groups in 2016 to shut Diablo down when the license expires in 24 and 25, in part because they knew at that point they couldn't prove to the NRC that they could operate safely enough for a license renewal. After Fukushima, they realized, bets are off. But So yes, we've been planning, and there are renewable resources scheduled to come online in 25 and 26 that would more than compensate for the shutdown of Diablo Canyon. But the problem is, the it depends part is, we have been experiencing reliability problems, blackouts and near blackouts, not because we don't have enough power, but because our grid operator is allowing games in our electricity markets and in the grid operation. So the times where we were blacked out in 20 and almost blacked out in 2022, those times were times of the highest exports out of California. So the real problem here is the ISO exists for the sellers and the energy traders and not for Californians. They are not ensuring reliable power. So as long as you allow power to leave California when we need it most, you can never fill the bucket all the way if there's a hole in the bucket. The ISO must stop allowing exports of power outside of California at times of high demand, or at times of any demand if Californians need it. And until they do, we will always have reliability problems with or without Diablo.
I want to welcome Kim McAllister to the show. And Kim, we love having Loretta Lynch on, and I'm
Loretta
so happy to get her on. We've been dying to get you on. And Kim, I don't know if you have any questions, but again, when we're talking about PG&E, Loretta, I wonder how much we can really even trust them, one, on their application and their plan to operate this plant safely. To put it bluntly, and of course, this is my own opinion, they lie. They lie because they didn't do the work. They're up to their eyeballs in lawsuits and payouts. And I don't feel like we could trust them. And yet, obviously, they've been given at least this temporary green light.
Well, you're absolutely right. They lie. And it's not just your opinion. It's the federal court's opinion. They have been convicted of criminal negligence because their criminal negligence has killed people and has injured people over and over. So at this point, they have been convicted of over 100 criminal felonies in the last decade, which I don't think any utility in the country, much less perhaps any company in the country, can meet that record of perfidy. So of course they've lost the benefit of the doubt. And the problem here is the public gets this. We know that they are not to be trusted. The problem is, do the regulators know that they are not to be trusted? Because there's such coziness between the regulators and PG&E that I am concerned that the regulators are not exercising oversight the way they should.
And we have a question from Calvin, one of our viewers, saying, Loretta, how can we get the CPUC to help ratepayers and not PG&E? Do we just fire them all?
Well, sadly, you can't. It's up to the governor and the legislature on that point. But what you can do is make sure that your legislators know that we need PUC commissioners that are for the people and not for PG&E. But it's true. The costs are outrageous right now, and that is both PG&E's fault and the PUC's fault. And we have got to hold the PUC accountable to bring down these outrageously high prices. There are lots of ways to do that. We could talk about that perhaps another time, but it's not being done. And until it happens, until we actually get these rates down, we are endangering the entire California economy.
Yeah.
It's
almost double what it was. I mean, it's unexpected. All of a sudden you get this $500 or $600 power bill and you haven't really done anything different. And it's like, oh my God, how am I going to make this work? And it's cold, freezing some nights, especially here in the North Bay. I'm telling my family, sweatshirt up, put on an extra blanket and bundle yourself, because I'm not cranking up this heat way high, because you just your blanket.
I have an electric blanket because I'm not turning the freaking heat on anymore. I mean,
because it is so expensive. And while that's good that we're conserving in some ways, there are some people who, I mean, this really is affecting them.
Hey, I'm from a working class family, and my dad used to always say, turn down the heat and put on a sweater. But at some point, these rates get so high that that's not enough. And the choices that families have to make are heartbreaking. It's pay the PG&E bill or eat, pay the PG&E bill or the rent bill. And frankly, it's not just California families. California businesses have some of the highest rates in the nation, far outstripping inflation. And I'm going to leave you with this little tidbit. Guess what? PG&E is applying for a 23% rate increase this year.
No. Are you kidding me?
No.
Are they trying to make it so we can't even have power at all?
Yeah.
And the problem here is the cozy co-option between PG&E and the PUC. Just last November, the PUC allowed all the California utilities to keep $500 million in admittedly excess profits. The utility said, hey, we earned more than you told us we could earn, but we'd like to keep that money, thank you, because of the pandemic. And guess what? Against all the evidence, the PUC said, sure, you can keep that money. Think about what $500 million in refunds would mean to Californians right now.
I mean, that just seems like we need to be holding Governor Newsom's feet to the fire to do something about this, Loretta. I mean, Calvin Wong had said, fire them all. I mean, whenever you hear a criticism of Gavin Newsom, it largely comes down to what he's done with with PG&E and the CPUC.
Well, and I worked for another governor, Gray Davis, who was immensely popular until he wasn't. And what brought him down? Too cozy relationship with the California utilities and too slow of an action to curb the profiteering in California's energy markets. We have a clear lesson. I hope the governor does not fall for it again.
So we recently had someone called it a climate reward, but it was a pittance. It was like, I don't know, 50 or 60 bucks, and our power bills are astronomical. What good is a reward if it doesn't even make a dent?
Yeah.
Well, here's the deal. That is a rebate that is baked into California law that we've been receiving in May or June for the last several years. All the PUC did was a shell game. They moved up giving consumers that rebate now. But then when we switch to summer rates, which by the way are higher, we're not going to have that rebate to cushion that transition. So all they did was rob from Peter to pay Paul. And come May, we're going to have high bills again, and they're not going to have any rebates in their back pocket to give customers.
Lori, one of our viewers has an interesting question. Can consumers start a class action against them? I'm assuming them being either the CPUC or PG&E. I mean, what recourse do we really have? Remind us. I mean, it just seems criminal. I don't know what else to say. We need electricity. We don't have any other options other than PG&E. What can people do besides freeze their butts off?
Well, so here's the deal. You can't start a class action against the PUC because it's a state agency and you can't sue the state. So what do? And so then what you have to do is advocate either at the PUC, have to say rigged jurisdiction there, rigged venue, or you go to our legislators and you say, hey, two things. One, you should remove the limitations on court jurisdiction so that all these other decisions have to be made at the PUC and can't be made by a court. It's called Section 1759, and the utilities use this all the time to kick valid claims out of court and kick them back to the PUC where they either languish or they're summarily dismissed. That's a bad deal. It's been a bad deal for decades. That has to change. But then the second thing is you can't sue the PUC, but what you can do is appeal a PUC decision to appellate court, but in only very narrow ways. The PUC is the only state agency that has these special protections from judicial review, and those got to go because the PUC is never going to change its stripes and never going to become a watchdog instead of a lapdog until a court can review what it does and until victims of PG&E's negligence can get to court.
Why do they have special rules, Loretta? And were we just not paying attention when they snuck all these things into place?
Oh, these special rules were put in by the utilities long ago, like decades ago in the 50s and 60s, because the utilities aren't stupid. They knew that if they could co-opt 3 of the 5 PUC members and then limit court review of the PUC actions, then they were going to be, pigs at the trough, which they are. So they did that really well. And the problem is the utilities have such a hold on the legislature and the governor that those, let's just say, antiquated and certainly not consumer-friendly procedural laws have never been changed.
You just said has such a hold on the governor. I know you can't read his mind, and I bet it's just money. But is there anything else I feel like Governor Newsom can get such gold stars from Californians if he actually did something about this. Why do you think he can't or won't? Is it simply money?
Well, I used to always advise Governor Davis that he was never going to lose an election by siding with the people over the utilities.
Exactly.
And here we are, right? That recall is made him infamous. And ultimately, it's kind of a tipping point kind of thing. People will stand for some co-option and corruption and some inefficiency and too much profiteering, but not a lot. And we are at the point of that tipping point. We are getting gouged by PG&E. We're getting gouged by the energy sellers. The governor's own regulators aren't doing their job, and the governor's own market operators are clearly not doing their job. They answer to the traders, the energy traders, and they really don't like to answer to California. Until we fix those two things, our economy is going to continue to be pillaged unnecessarily, and people are going to experience real hurt.
Great question from Vilma before I let you go, Loretta Lynch. And we want to get you back regularly, so I hope that you're up for that. But the solar fee, the solar panels, remember they were going to take away some of the incentives for people to put them on their homes. What is the latest with that?
Hey, there's a big cliff coming, and it's April 15th. If you don't have your solar application in to PG&E and approved or accepted by PG&E by April 15th, you cannot get the solar deal that the current solar customers get. And I know this personally because I'm changing out the solar panels I put on in 2004 to make them stronger so I can make more solar and pay less to PG&E. And guess what? PG&E just rejected my application because they said I don't have a smart meter and I have to have a smart meter to be in the solar program. Well, I'm already in the solar program. I'm just switching out panels that I'm already producing solar. And I said, show me where there's that PUC rule. But they are really going beyond what the PUC is requiring. I think either, let's just say, to mess with me or to mess with all customers who want to go solar so that they have the fewest solar customers and so that they have more customers that they can charge more to. Yeah. It's not in PG&E's interest for their customers to go solar because they make less money.
Mm-hmm. That's wild.
That is just that. Yeah. And there's nothing we can do about that. That April 15th, that is set in stone.
Well, 3 environmental groups have filed an application for the PUC to reconsider its decision about this cliff, the April 15th cliff. And we'll see what happens if the PUC does reconsider its decision. Mm-hmm. But ultimately, they're not going to unless they get some political pressure to do that. But I think their decision was illegal because there's a law on the books that says the PUC must administer the program so that the solar program experiences sustainable growth. And having a cliff where new customers get cut off essentially is not sustainable growth. So they violated the law in essentially bending over backwards for the utilities.
It's so frustrating when you hear the governor say, go solar, buy electric vehicles, and plug them into your electric vehicle chargers with your solar paneled house, and we're going to do all this renewable energy. And then they turn around and they make it harder for people. Yeah. I just, it's very frustrating as a consumer.
It's easy to talk the talk. What we all have to be watching is which politicians walk the walk.
Exactly. Loretta Lynch, former president of the CPUC. We are going to get you back on regularly on the show because this is an issue that matters so much to every single Californian. Loretta, thank you so much for coming on the Nikki Medoro Show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Of course. Thank you so much.
We love you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Yeah, I'm so happy that we were able to get her on. And that clip is cool. Insane. It is so frustrating because April 15th and then I think it's April 18th for taxes this year. And it's one of those things where people are looking at their dollars and their cents, and it's crazy. On that note, speaking around the time of April 15th is of course tax season, and our friend, our founding sponsor, Steve Moskowitz, is joining us now. And Steve, you saw Loretta Lynch right there talking about the April 15th deadline for solar. There's a lot of deadlines people need to keep in mind for taxes too.
Absolutely. April 15th is one of them. And March 15th is another one if you're a corporation, although you can get an extension to give you another half a year, which people commonly do. And what I wanted to say is that people, and I call it March Madness, but I'm not talking about college basketball. Right. People will really start getting angry now. They say, I work so hard and I pay so much taxes and these giant corporations don't pay and what's going on? And I say, that's right. It's called tax planning. And that's what your tax return should really be, a summarization of a year round of tax planning. And right now, today, in 2023, for a lot of people, we can still do tax planning and save them money for their 2022 tax returns. And a lot of times when we take a new client, the client says, Steve, was that a new benefit? Because my old guy never took it. I said, no, it's been around for years. And they say, well, why didn't he take it? I said, well, I guess you didn't know about it. And there's a lot of stuff to know. But we can go back and amend your last 3 years federal, 4 years California, get money back if you've missed things. So what I'd like to urge your viewers to do is let us show you the difference that we can make in your return. And then after we do that, we can give you business advice after that, tax advice, do your accounting. And there's a lot of other things that we can talk about. Financial planning, estate planning, HR services. There's so much we can do. But right now, during the traditional tax season, let's go ahead and show you what we can do with your taxes.
Yeah, I mean, because just a little bit of information can save you so much money, so much heartache, so many problems down the line. And again, Steve, I like that you mentioned you go back to past returns, that you may be able to fix things that people may have missed or made a mistake on. So give Steve a call. He is the expert. He has an amazing team of people that work with him. 888-TAX-DEAL, MoskowitzLLP.com, 888-TAX-DEAL, or MoskowitzLLP.com. Have a great one, Steve. Thanks so much.
Guys.
Bye-bye. Yeah, so give Steve a call. Those deadlines, though, they'll keep you up at night. As Steve likes to say, sleep the sleep of the innocent. And give Steve a call.
Yeah, now we've got the deadline pushed to October for California, right? Because of the wildfires. Did you hear about that?
No, I'm sorry. The deadline for
filing taxes for.
You still need the extension, you mean?
Yeah. So we're I think we're extended till October. Yeah, tax deadlines extended to October for most Californians. That is because of I guess impacted by winter storms and wildfires and everything else. They're pushing it out.
Okay. But again, let's just be clear here. And I should probably bring Steve back on. You're talking about, but you still need to file an extension by April 15th or April 18th or whatever it is. Correct?
I'm not sure how it works. I don't know about the paperwork filing and deadlines, but I guess check with your tax professional that you have. But it looks like the payment due dates have been extended to October 16th.
Okay.
Both the state and federal filing deadlines. So yeah.
Okay. And well, that's good. Definitely talk to your tax preparer, and we'll double check with Steve on Monday to just clarify those dates, because you definitely do not want to make a mistake.
Don't let me screw you up.
Exactly. Like, Kim, you're not a tax professional.
It's not my fault. Don't do it. Don't do it.
All right. Let's see what else. Oh my God. Another good thing though, that I woke up to this morning was this map. Have you seen this map, Kim McAllister? Here it is. So California, 50% of it, 50% of California is currently out of the drought.
Oh,
so that's pretty good news right here.
So what's the mustard colored?
Okay,
severe drought.
So yeah, so the white is no drought. The yellow, the like highlighter yellow, is abnormally dry, which is right below moderate drought, but it's not
drought. Yeah. Okay.
Drought. And then severe drought is kind of the darker mustardy color, but you see no red. No extreme drought, no exceptional drought. More rain is on the way. On one hand, I'm exhausted by the rain. So like during the week, it's like, oh, we get sunshine and not a lot of rain. And then the weekend, when I have time to do the things that I need to do, rain. And it's just, and I mean, I was listening to Steve Paulson on KTVU this morning, and the guy just cracks me up. He is so funny, but it's just, I don't know, we're going to extend it. We're going to extend it a little more. We don't know quite sure yet. And I'm like, just say it. It's going to friggin' rain like for the next couple of weeks. This is insane amount of water that we've been getting. The good news though, also the Sierra snowpack is growing. And so we shouldn't have that like massive melt and runoff, that it should be able to stay, which is what we need, especially if we want to continue to make improvements on our drought situation.
I mean, I think long term we still need to conserve. And when people hear,
don't change how you use it. Yes.
Yeah. Exactly. People hear, oh, we're out of a drought. They're like, woohoo, keep that water running while you brush your teeth. No. I get that that's a pittance when you're talking about water, but if everybody tries to not waste, then we'll be in much better shape. And it's not like it says what was it? Even though it's below drought, it's still severely dry.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
we gotta keep trying for each other, because we don't want to end up in that severe spot that we've been in for a couple of years again. If we, the more we can serve, the longer we stave off what could lie ahead.
Absolutely. Well, what I am really also hoping for, Kim, is that we won't be so dry this summer
Yeah.
and fall, because
Mhm.
technically it lasts year round. Hey, hit Matthew. I'm sorry, Matthew. There you go. That we won't see the wildfires
Yeah.
as bad. I mean, I know there are going to be fires, but as
Mhm.
bad as it was, because every year it's not summer, it's the smoky season, and I'm just exhausted by it. So
Yeah.
that is some good news. Okay. Kim's going to do some quick news, and then I have to go to the kitchen because I got my Friday food segment.
Okay.
Now, this, I believe her name was Natalie. So, Natalie, if you're listening right now, if not on the replay, it was a recommendation after I went to that Greek spot. She offered up one of these, offered up this restaurant. I will already say that I took a little taste. Oh, I'm so excited to take a real taste. So, I will be doing my Friday food segment coming up. I have some pictures to show you that I also have to get into the computer. Also, speaking of going out to eat and social events, cash-strapped Americans are cutting out going out. They're not being as social because of inflation. And are social activities one of the last things that you cut out of your budget? Or is it like one of the first things? What are the ways that you're saving money? Because I think for some people, I might have to pay a high PG&E bill. I might have to pay a lot for groceries, but I'm not giving up my Friday night out with the boys, or, whatever with the girls. So is that something that you do? And how are you saving money? So we'll talk about that. We do have Tim Sika towards the end of the show with his movie reviews. Also, today is the Global Day of Unplugging. We'll talk about this in the second part of the show. It starts at sundown, so don't unplug right now.
Okay.
But I want you guys to tell me in the comments if you're able to ever participate in something like that. And I'll tell you a pretty funny story of the one time I really tried to participate. So that story's coming up. But first, Kim with the news.
Now, from around the world to up your street, the Nikki Medoro Show presents News Czar Kim McAllister.
And this report sponsored by tax attorney Steve Moskowitz at 888 Tax Deal. Thank you for being with us. The President of the United States is meeting with the Chancellor of Germany at the White House to discuss ongoing support for Ukraine in its war with Russia. And I've prepared a little photo of the two flags intersecting there. So speaking from the Oval Office, President Biden said the two leaders are discussing continuing to put pressure on Russia to end the war, as well as strengthening the NATO alliance. He says Russia's invasion has pushed countries closer to NATO, maybe the opposite of what Vladimir Putin is wanting. Attorneys for disgraced lawyer Alex Murdaugh say a key video that was part of his trial really did nothing to help their case. Dick Harpoothian spoke to NBC News about the kennel video after the once prominent wealthy attorney was sentenced to life in prison for killing his wife and son. Prior to that, Harpoothian said Murdaugh had always wanted to testify, but he had to explain the video at the kennels, and that may be very well the evidence that had a lot to do with him being convicted and sent away for life. The White House is defending its stance on a bill that, let me take his Alex Murdaugh's, Mr. Murdaugh's picture down there. The White House defending its stance on a bill to repeal changes to the Washington, D.C. criminal code. Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre said the changes the D.C. Council put forward over the mayor's objections reduces the sentence for crimes like homicides and home invasions. Well, the president is against that, President Biden. The Senate expected now to pass the measure as it already cleared the Republican-led House, and President Biden says he will go ahead and sign that. He does not want to reduce the penalties for those crimes. An attorney for a Pennsylvania man facing charges after bringing explosives into the Lehigh Valley Airport wants one of the charges dropped. Mark Muffy, accused of bringing what the TSA calls an explosive device in his luggage to the airport on Monday. In court, Muffy's attorney said he shouldn't be charged with attempting to have placed an explosive or incendiary device on an aircraft. Wonder why not? We'll find out what that argument's about. Vice President Kamala Harris in the Bay Area today. So if you see a motorcade whipping through, you know why. It is the first time since last year that she has made her way home to the Bay Area. Harris is fundraising for the Democratic Party at a private event this afternoon in Hillsborough. The vice president will later head to San Francisco's Chinatown, where she'll attend a roundtable discussion. She's expected to discuss entrepreneurship for Asian American and Pacific Islander business owners. The Oakland native, of course, has not been on official business in the Bay Area since last October, so it's been a while. The estimated cost to build California's high-speed rail system just went up again. The California High-Speed Rail Authority increasing the estimate for the Central Valley portion by nearly $4 billion. This brings the total for the Madera County to Kern County segment to more than $35 billion. $2 billion more than the original 2008 estimate for the entire Los Angeles to San Francisco system. Ridership estimates are also down by 25% for that train. It was supposed to start carrying passengers in 2020. Of course, that didn't happen, and who knows when it will. Here's a story for you, Nikki Nick. Netflix teaming up with comedian Chris Rock for a first ever global live stream special this weekend in Baltimore. Rock scheduled to perform his show titled Selective Outrage on Saturday. A pre-show program includes guests like Paul McCartney, Jerry Seinfeld, Amy Schumer, and Wanda Sykes. Again, that's on Netflix. It is a global live stream special this weekend.
Nice. That sounds like fun. I might have to watch that.
Something you'll seek out. This report sponsored by tax attorney Steve Moskowitz for more than 30 years. Steve has put his tax knowledge to work for individuals and for businesses. If you need help with the good old taxes, Steve Moskowitz is the one to be on your side at 888-TAX-DEAL and MoskowitzLLP.com. I'm Kim McAllister on the Nikki Medoro Show.
Okay, darn it. I don't know what's wrong with my phone. I need to ask Jefferson Graham about this.
You do.
So I took a bunch of pictures. So it's the Friday food segment. First off, though, can I just have everybody click the thumbs up button? Let's do that real quick. Click the thumbs up. Show support for the show. Has anyone seen if Andreas is in the chat? It's Andreas's birthday today.
Yay!
And if he comes in, I want to sing him happy birthday. But I'm wishing him, if he watches this on replay, happy birthday, my friend.
Did you see the message he sent on the Mark Thompson show?
I'm sorry, I was busy today. I was not smart.
So let me tell you, that's okay. Mark wasn't there; it was just me, so don't worry about it. But Andreas sent in a generous donation, of course, as always, and said that it is his birthday today. His dad came home from the hospital.
Oh, good.
But I think, was it yesterday or today? His mother had a heart attack. He said died twice, but was revived. I know, scary. And she apparently survived this incident. So they're going through a lot of health challenges with his parents there. That was a pretty scary situation. So I'm continuing to send good wishes and hoping everything's okay to his family.
Yeah, that's just our prayers go out to you, Andreas. I hope I hope your day, even though you're having all of these, your parents are having all these health challenges, that you have a great birthday. And we just love you on the Nikki Medoro Show. And let's just throw those balloons up there, even though he's not there yet. But there's the balloons for happy birthday, Andreas. So, and then if he is there, though, you guys let me know in the chat. Let me know, and then I will sing him a very happy birthday. Okay, so let's do the Friday food segment. I wanted to show you pictures, but let me just bring up the website then, because for some reason, Kim, my phone, whenever I try to download pictures to put into Snapchat or StreamYard, it doesn't let me do it. So I might have to just share it with you this way. Do they have one outside? Okay, here we go. This is the place where I went today, and it was on the recommendation of one of our listeners, and it's called Maya's Cafe. You see it right there? Is that a good picture? There you go. It's a little small.
Is it MIDAS? Midas?
Maya's Cafe.
Oh, Maya.
Yes.
Okay.
It's a Honduras restaurant.
Oh.
So I've never had Honduran food before. And so I believe her name was Natalie. I think I'm correct on that. Her name was
Okay.
Natalie. And so she advised me to eat a coconut milk soup with shrimp, yucca, and plantains.
Okay. That sounds delicious.
So I have a little bit here. I left the rest on the stove because I'll be eating this a little bit later. I mean, awesome size shrimp, right? It's just so good. Mm-hmm.
What are you thinking?
It's great. Do you like coconut milk?
I like coconut milk. I probably would have no shrimp in mine.
Because you're a child and you don't like shrimp?
Thank you.
Okay.
But yeah, but the whole like mixture sounds pretty good.
I love plantains. So it has plantains. You know what I've never had though? I've never had yucca. Have you ever had yucca?
No, is it like a vegetable or what?
Yeah. It's like a vegetable. It's like white. There you go.
Okay. What's it
I think
taste
it's like
like?
a potato. I feel like it's a potato. I want to say it's like in the potato family.
Okay.
Let me try it.
Is it in the potato family? I have to look that up.
There's a little more of I don't know how to describe it. It's not as breakable, I guess. There's a little more texture to the yucca than a potato. Fried yucca is the best ever. Oh, is it yucca? Am I pronouncing it wrong?
Oh, is it you? I would have said yucca too. Yucca. Okay.
Is it yucca? I'm sorry. I don't. This is the first time I've had it, and so I apologize. It's a root vegetable. Natalie, were you the one that recommended it? I don't know if it was you, but I believe it was. And it is starchy. It's really, really good. Yeah, it's a little more starchy. That's the right word, Natalie.
Oh, here's that. It says I'm on a random website, so we'll take this with a grain of salt.
Okay.
But according to this Dr. Internet, it says yuccas are common garden plants with pointed leaves. They are known for benefiting your skin, boosting your immunity, because they have high amounts of vitamin C and antioxidants, both of which benefit the immune system and overall health. So yeah, vitamin C stimulates the production and activity of white blood cells, fighting infection and viruses. The antioxidants in yucca can protect us from cell mutations. I don't know about all this, but there's health benefits, I guess. So that's good.
Well, Karen wrote in, yucca is smeared on your body if you have a burn. So that makes sense on what you just read.
Okay.
I also want to show something else. So with this coconut, now, I'm going to say this. I know that, and there's a lot of shrimp in this soup. Okay. So it's not like a tiny thing. The container was like this big. Okay. So it's a lot. And there was a lot of shrimp. I mean, and all the other stuff.
How much was it?
It was like $25.
That's a big portion though, for like feed the whole family portion.
I mean, I ain't sharing it, but yeah, totally. It also comes with some rice. And this is the part that gets me so excited because homemade tortillas.
Oh.
You know they're homemade because they have like a little stone.
So why would they do that? Because, oh, wow. Why would it looks like paisley?
Like to
you dip it in the soup? Like dip the
the
fresh tortilla in the soup? I would think they would just do tortillas if they give you something you can wrap up in a tortilla. You can't wrap soup in a tortilla, but I guess it's a good dipper.
Oh, it's a bomb dipper.
Okay.
I will eat fresh tortillas. Any of these like food channels that I follow constantly.
Yeah.
They make making tortillas so freaking easy. You should just do it yourself. And yes, I got flour tortillas and not corn.
Yeah.
I like flour tortillas more than corn. I just do.
Interesting.
So, Maya's Cafe. It's on Union Avenue in San Jose. It is really, really good. And I'm bummed because I took all of these pictures of the inside. So when you go in front, I showed you the front sign, and then I love restaurants that have like pictures of the food, like right on the front. And so you see them right there, and it's a cute little spot. There was another woman there when I had gone in to pick up the food, I guess, who's a regular. And she said, she's like, oh, I haven't been here since COVID. You guys redid the entire inside, and it's really cute. And it's not very big, but when you walk in and the people behind the counter were just laughing and seeming to have a good time. I don't know.
Yeah.
It was very welcoming when I came in. So again, Maya's Cafe on Union Avenue in San Jose. It's very good. I've never had Honduran food, and I'll go back. This soup was really, really good. I think I might add, it also came with half a lime. So maybe squeeze a little bit in it. And maybe just because I like things spicy, a little bit of hot sauce. Because she asked me, she's like, do you want hot sauce? And I said, no, let's just eat it as it is. But I think I'll add a hot sauce later.
Of course, I would have said no. I found it on TripAdvisor. And they have some really cool pictures of other meals there.
Okay.
So let me show you. They have this, I don't know what they all are. Let's see if we can see them.
Oh, see those tortillas, right? That might actually be a pupusa. I think that might be a pupusa right there.
It is. Hands down, best pupusas ever, writes in one user. Little place, big flavor.
Yeah.
Writes another.
Look at that.
Chili verde. And great people are writing in.
Yeah. So it looks really, really good. I love the recommendations that I'm getting from some of you. I love Emma. Food porn is the best. You find so many different things. Exactly.
Yeah. It looks like a little hole in the wall. Like you wouldn't know that it was so excellent. You know, that's what it looks like.
Really
inside.
small. It's really small. It's really cute inside. Okay, so Ron says I will love sopapillas. Sopapillas. I think I'm pronouncing that right. Popular in New Mexico. I'll have to look those up. I do have other restaurants that I really want to try. Well, the one that only has what I'm supposed to try twice a month, that's on the back burner. There's another restaurant that one of our viewers recommended that wasn't doing well. And it was in that cursed location. I wasn't able to drive over there. It was too far away from me. So I think I'm going to have to go there on a different day, and maybe I'll just save the video for Fridays because there's only so much time in the morning that I have. So I got to get this done.
That's a picture of a yuca. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
It's interesting looking,
I've
isn't
never
it?
had it before. I've never had it before. It was really, really good.
Would you think it would be good in a lot of different things?
I could, you know what? I feel like it would be good just as a side.
Oh, okay.
You know, like you have potatoes or something like that. And just maybe season them up different ways. I had it in the coconut soup, so it really took on those flavors, but I could imagine that it would just take over whatever flavors you have it in.
Yeah.
And again, like Natalie said, it's starchy, so it has the ability to absorb, I feel like, right? Like whatever you put into it.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, let's see. Oh, what is this, Flo? Would you consider trying a meal from a good food truck one day? I am a food truck whore. I love food trucks.
She'll eat fried chicken from a gas station. So she doesn't have a problem with your local roach coach. She's fine with that. Go ahead.
They're not roach coaches. Snooty McSnooter over there. I love food trucks. I do. Tell me where they are. I will go visit them. But I want to try ones that are different, you know. We were spoiled. I've said this before. We were spoiled over at KGO Station X because at lunchtime when I worked the afternoon, there'd be like a line of 5 or 6 lunch trucks, food trucks, right outside our building, like literally right outside our building on like Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays. It was awesome. I love food trucks. Absolutely.
No gas station sushi.
No, I won't do that. Although, no. You know, some of these hole in the wall places, especially in San Francisco, they have, you know, they'll make you like the udon soup that they would have. And then they have like little packets of sushi off to the side. I won't even eat grocery store sushi. I'm not eating gas station sushi. But if it's like an Asian place, I'll try it out.
Yeah.
Flo's like, I forgot about the gas station fried chicken. It's just attached to it. It's just kind of the same building. It's you can't get your gas. You can't pay for your gas at the same register as the fried chicken. So there. It's not.
This is funny. We might have to track this one down. There's a Vietnamese food truck called Pho Me.
Yeah. I love pho. And I didn't always. When I lived in Sacramento was when I was first introduced to pho. And it kind of grossed me out, the idea, because obviously the chicken comes cooked already.
Right.
But if you got like beef, for instance, unless you get like already made brisket, like if you got rare meat, it cooks it in the soup. And while I understand that it's hot enough soup and it cooks the food and it's fine, it kind of weirded me out a little bit. And then just my palate wasn't ready for it. And that was years and years and years ago. And then I moved back to the Bay, and Vietnamese food is huge, especially here in San Jose. And so I tried it again, and oh my God, I love pho. I just load it up, make it as spicy as possible. So good.
You and your spice. Karen D writes, a good pho has clean broth. So good. I don't know what clean broth means.
What does clean broth mean, Karen?
Yeah, I don't know.
Healthy?
Oh, healthy. Okay. Yeah.
Well, because you have to watch the sodium. You do have to watch the sodium in some of these soups, what they add to it or whatever. Now, Karen, does the pho meat truck, is that local? I mean, is it? Because there's one food truck that I would visit all the time in San Francisco, and they barely make it down the peninsula. So I'm never able to visit it, and it bothers me. Oh, no fatty stuff floating on the top. That's what you mean. Okay.
I love JR. Seattle has a chain called Pho King. Pho Space King.
Pho King. Yes, exactly. Ooh. This person was talking about the tuber known as the Chinese yam.
Nagaimo.
Yeah, you pronounced that way better than I did. So that's our Friday food segment. I thank everybody for tuning in every Friday. I will have some videos. I'll also have a video of me trying out the soup initially. That'll be coming up on the social media feeds as well. I do recommend it. I do think that the price point is a bit high for, lunch. You can share this. I would say this is enough soup for 2 people. But again, I'm not sharing it. I can eat it all by myself. I think maybe not. Maybe I would share it with somebody else. But for right now, I'm starving, and I would totally drink and eat the whole entire thing. But $25, I think it was like $27 with the tax and everything. It's not too bad. But again, like we were talking about inflation, Kim, people are watching very, very closely their dollars and their cents.
Yeah.
And so that kind of brings me to the next thing that I wanted to talk about, which was cash-strapped Americans are cutting out social events. This study was of 1,000 U.S. adults, and it found that 61% of Americans say the current economic climate is negatively impacting their well-being. And it's even higher among young people, 74% young people, 65% women. And another 41% of those surveyed say they're looking for new ways to make money. But as far as how far they'll go to make ends meet, check this out. 20% say they're turning down wedding invitations, birthdays, and even dates to save cash. Overall, 50% of people are going out less altogether to save some money. So let me know in the comments, how are you guys saving money? Go ahead.
I was going to say that makes sense because, young people, a lot of young people are late teens, early 20s, mid 20s that are just kind of getting started, maybe don't have a lot of cash rolling around. I've read that a lot of people have to say no to being in their friends' weddings because they're so expensive. So it makes sense, especially if you tack on the cost of, buying an outfit for a wedding, possibly traveling to the wedding, getting a hotel for the wedding, a gift that is appropriate, because now wedding gifts are really expensive, right? You can't just walk in with a $20 gift. You're probably going to give a $100 gift, I would imagine, if you're going to the wedding. Because what do they say? It's supposed to be, you have to think about how much they're paying to feed you. This is what I heard. Tell me if you think this is right.
Of course you do. It's per plate, baby. Yeah.
Per every person in your family that's going to the wedding, you should have $50 of a gift, right?
Yeah.
So you're spending, if you assume they're spending $50 a head or $50 per plate, then your family of 4, that's a $200 gift that you're bringing to the wedding. So.
And who's doing that? I mean, really?
Not
Look
cheap.
What Kim wrote. She says, I'm not in the Dominican Republic right now to attend my cousin's wedding tomorrow because the cost was going to be insane.
Yeah.
And that's sad. I mean, I'm bummed for you, Kim, that you couldn't go in and see your cousin get married. I do want to add to this, though, and Natalie makes an excellent point. Pre-COVID, the soup at Maya's was $16.99.
Oh.
It's hard for small businesses these days. Yeah, I think it went up almost $10. And that's, and again, I don't mind paying it, one, because I do like to support small businesses. I would be disappointed if I didn't like it, but I'm I think I'm batting 1,000 simply because I'm getting my recommendations from you guys. I'm not doing kind of the driving down the street, see a hole in the wall and check it out type of thing, which I might have to end up doing if I don't want all these food reviews to just be terrible. But I like giving good food reviews.
Yeah. And helping small businesses at the same time.
Exactly. Yeah. Karen says a big treat is doing takeout. It's sad. Yeah, I mean, I try not, you know what else I'm not doing? I don't know if you guys noticed this because I really didn't say it, but I'm not door dashing it. I'm taking time in the morning to
You're going to get it. Yeah.
Get it because it adds another probably $10 or something like that to just have it delivered. So I have to factor that time in before the show to go get the food. But I also like to check out the places and make eye contact with some of the people and kind of go to the restaurant. So I like to go do it anyway.
Part of a good review is to kind of, tell us how it feels when you walk in and whether, because some people still do go out to eat. There are people that want to sit in the restaurant and do that.
Yeah. And I like to get the pictures and everything to share with you guys. Lynn writes in $50 gift for a wedding per person is not enough.
What isn't? Am I doing it wrong?
You're doing it wrong. Well, I usually spend $100 if I go to a wedding.
$50 gift for the wedding person. No, I'm saying per person.
Yeah, so $100 if you and your husband went.
Right. And maybe a touch more, but around that. And I might spend more than 50 if it was just me going, I guess, like maybe 60 or 65, maybe. I don't know. It depends. I hope I'm not being a cheapskate.
You are.
Am I screwing up?
Dude, I don't know. I remember when I was like young and I was invited to a wedding and I thought giving $25 was a lot of money. And I always look back on that being like, I can't believe you actually gave somebody $25. Murphy Ronan says,
25 bones, have a happy life.
I mean, I was like a teen. I think I was like 19. I didn't know better. Shout out to all the introverts who say we'll have to miss it, but we're never going anyway. Right. Yeah, it's hard. Orion weighs in. You should at least give money for each head's cost of dinner. So like $100 per person and something on top as a gift.
$100 per person. Wow.
Yeah, so that's a lot. I'm way better now. I mean, obviously.
Do you think, does $50 a person sound cheapskatey to you?
I think it matters where it is. Yeah, I think you can get a sense of how much the bride and the groom spent on the venue and, and stuff like that. So I think you can kind of gauge it. If it's like a backyard wedding, I know that most of my money isn't going to go to to pay for the wedding. It's going to go to set them up. Right. And honestly, and all of these suggestions are great. The truth of the matter is you can give what you can afford.
Yeah.
And that's it. And I never bring gifts to a wedding. I always bring money.
Yeah.
Bring this stupid. I'm not carrying a gift.
I send it to their house.
Yeah. Well, usually, I mean, especially if I know the person, like I'm close to them, I'm either invited to the bridal shower or something like that. And I know it's not the same as the wedding gift, but I just go to whatever shower. And then when the wedding happens, I give cash because that's what people want. I know on my wedding, opening up those cards was the best. Although at my wedding, we were opening up the cards before the wedding was over to pay like the DJ. We're like,
But here's what I like though. There are things that I have at my house that someone gave me for my wedding. And I know that, I see the item and I think of that person.
Yeah.
I think I'm reminded that they were, thought of us on our wedding day and that they had, good wishes for us to have a happy marriage. And those items hold some value to me. Not because they're household things, but because of who gave them and when I got them and why. Do you know what I mean? So like when you just hand over cash, when you're throwing cash at someone, you kind of miss out on that whole, I remember when Aunt Janet gave me those beautiful glass dishes from wherever. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I'm not going to go down that road with you. I don't remember who gave me all of the things. And I'm trying to think of what from my wedding that was a wedding gift do I still really use? And I would say my china. I mean, we got like, we got the settings, which are in my cupboard and I use them for holidays. And now that we have moved into a house where I'm not eating in my kitchen, I'll probably be using my china more often. But yeah. And
no one asks for china anymore. That's like an old person thing now.
I like fancy schmancy plates because the other plates that I have are either plastic or they're the, the ceramic. You get them at Home Goods, they're brown or gray, or, they're your everyday kind of plates. If it's a nice Thanksgiving dinner, That makes me old. Right? But you want something nicer than just your average plates, in my opinion.
Apparently now that's too much of a load to haul around from place to place as you move through life. Nobody wants crystal, china, silverware. Just want the regular dishes that are nice enough for day and fancy.
Yeah, plain white is nice, right?
Yeah.
Like just a nice white plate. Kim writes, most people getting married these days are established, have a home set up, and don't need all the things, especially in this part of the country. It's not 19-year-old kids who haven't lived together. Yeah. But I was just trying to, like, anybody in the comments that has been married, remember what they got for their wedding that really stood out, like Kim's whatever gift that she looks at all the time. I don't. I think besides my china, I mean, I think probably like we got towels, you know, like I don't know.
And do you really remember like who gave you a plate setting?
Drying my ass, and I'm like, oh, thanks, Grandpa. I don't know. No idea.
That's a great visual. Thanks for that. Much appreciated.
A waffle iron. Live the Santa Cruz life with Michelle. Waffle iron. We have a waffle iron. I think we bought it ourselves, though.
I got a waffle iron from my neighbor, Gwen, who still lives a couple of doors down from me. And it just broke after 20 years of marriage.
Oh, wow.
So thanks for the waffle iron, Gwen.
We have a waffle iron. We have mini waffle makers and those types of things. We still barely use them, but Chloe asks a valid question. What happened to the thought that counts? We can always give cash or gift cards, toasters, but what if you really know the couple to give something more personally meaningful? Right. Yeah. I mean, then this is what I will say to this. Okay, so you're getting married. You are just starting out. Maybe you do need stuff, right? There are some things that I feel like unless you really know the person like Flo is talking about, maybe you're an artist and you create something for them. That would be awesome, right? Like, so you would definitely remember when you walk past it in your house, what it is. But if it was just like, it's not on your registry, I'm not giving you cash, I just kind of like it. You have to remember that these people have to put it somewhere, you know, you have to do something with it.
My dad and stepmom gave us a really thick, beautiful wood cutting board.
Oh, that's probably a pain in the ass to put away every day, right?
And clean and whatever else. So yes, it is, but it's also really nice. Yeah. So I always remembered it's like a big wood block, like a big wooden.
Yeah.
It's cool, awesome. But it's those kind of things that I don't know. I remember. Maybe I'm sappy. I'm also apparently cheap wedding gift giver. Now I feel bad.
Well, Natalie, I want to be your friend. I want that. The cast iron. That box must be heavier than hell.
That's what I gave Jennifer Jones Lee Le Creuset for her wedding.
I'm so glad you said it because I was going to say it wrong. Le Creuset, is that how you say it?
Le Creuset, yeah.
Le Creuset enamel cast
really
iron.
Nice cookware. It's
I've heard it. I want one of their Dutch ovens.
Lifetime cookware. Like once you have a Le Creuset pan, you can or a oval Dutch oven or whatever it is, you can use it forever and pass it down to your kids. It's worth every penny. Yeah.
That's what. Now that you've brought this up, in the move, I don't know where our cast iron pan is. So we always leave our cast iron. It's somewhere, believe me. Mother Nature is not allowing me to organize my garage because of the rain. It's in there. I know it's in there. But we would keep our cast iron pan on the stove so we would use it all the time because that MF is heavy. And if you put it away, you're not dragging it out every time you want to use it. You're like, I'll just use a regular pan. So I leave it on the stove and I use it so much. So yeah, I really, really like it. Let's see what else. You give what's on their registry or cash. Exactly. Look at this one. I received a whole set of 12 flatware shrimp forks and not all fancy, but nice. I used them today, 30 plus years, Emma. All right.
Do you remember who gave them to you? That's the question.
Yes. Do you look at it every time you eat a shrimp and you're like, thank you, so-and-so? Margarita glasses. That's awesome. Karen said Apple stock certificates. Now that's pretty cool. That's a good, like stock is a good thing to give kids, right? Like somebody gives birth to, you know,
right?
Like our friend Carolyn Copeland, when she had her baby, I was like, just here's some, because again, I know people are buying you tons of outfits and all kinds of stuff. I'm like, I'm just going to make a donation and you can put this money towards either the baby or a college fund or whatever. And so I think she did put it towards her Nora's college fund. So, Oh, JR, you're not a fan of destination wedding GoFundMe's. That's funny. I like that idea. We didn't do that when I was getting married all those years ago. I like that though, because you know what? I will say thank you if I got to like hang glide or go on some, safari thing or whatever I did on my anniversary or my honeymoon. I would think that would be cool.
I have a friend that we worked with at the radio station that got married, and she had a destination, they had a honeymoon in Tahiti. They were already established, as a viewer was saying, in the, they're already established, already had everything. So they asked for donations to their honeymoon. Yeah. And there's a website that does it. So I think I bought them. It was really expensive. I think I paid $50 for drinks for them at the bar at the resort where they were staying on this website. So they're never going to remember that I bought them drinks for that, but it was what they wanted. So.
And that's exactly, and I think that what we need to remember is that when people ask for things, that's what they want. So give them what they want, what you want. Okay. We're going to do Kim's news. I'm going to kind of keep it on the inflation, social events, a really sad story about a bride. And then I want to get into, because I've been dying to talk about this Facebook group. Are we dating the same guy? Ooh. And it is so interesting. I'll tell you the story of how I've been interacting with this Facebook group. You guys tell me if you would join a Facebook group like this. Also, we have Tim Sika coming up. He's going to tell us what to watch this weekend. This is the Nikki Medoro Show.
Now, from around the world to up your street, the Nikki Medoro Show presents News Czar Kim McAllister.
And this report sponsored by tax attorney Steve Moskowitz at 888 Tax Deal. Let's get into it. President Biden had cancerous tissues removed from his body last month. That, according to a White House physician, the president had a skin lesion removed from his chest at Walter Reed Medical Center. It was sent out for a biopsy and it came back positive for basal cell carcinoma. White House releasing press release affirms all cancerous tissue was successfully removed. It also notes the site of that biopsy is totally healed. So that was last month in February. I don't know, Nikki, I feel like a lot of people that are older are going to have skin lesions and skin cancers and things removed, and that becomes kind of normal.
Well, I also think we have to keep in mind that we are getting older as a society. And so these things do crop up, because I feel like sometimes people are like, are we seeing more cases of these types of lesions, skin cancer? And it's like, well, I mean, people's activities have changed. They're living longer. And that could also be a reason.
Yeah. Let's move on to Mr. Trump. It seems that former President Trump is using the whole delay tactic, which we've heard before. He is now asking for a 6-month delay in his civil fraud case brought by the New York Attorney General. If granted, a 6-month delay would push his trial to early 2024, when the presidential primary race is heating up. And, that could even create more delays, right? The former president's attorneys claim the current dates go against his right to have a reasonable amount of time to prepare. Newly filed court documents also show the judge indicated this trial would start as planned in October, no matter the case. So there you have it. The San Bernardino National Forest will be closed for 2 weeks because of snow. Yes, this in Southern California, of course. Several feet of snow buried the surrounding mountain communities, stranding some whole communities there in the mountains. The National Forest Service issuing an emergency order to close the park through March 16th because of dangerous road conditions and damaged infrastructure because of storms. Residents and first responders will still be allowed access. This comes as people living in nearby mountain communities have been stranded in their homes for more than a week because of the snow, and crews have been working around the clock to dig them out. Welcome to this winter in California. In Santa Rosa, here in the North Bay, a 16-year-old boy has been arrested on suspicion of bringing an unloaded gun into Maria Carrillo High School in Santa Rosa. It happened Wednesday morning, the same morning that a 16-year-old student was stabbed to death at Montgomery High School in the same city of Santa Rosa. Police did not find the handgun on Wednesday, but officers ended up finding it in a storm drain on Thursday. School administrators called police after getting reports from students about a fellow fellow student having a gun. The boy arrested Wednesday after running from officers into a neighboring mobile home park near the school. What a mess that one was. I don't know if you've been on the roadways today in the Bay Area, but the complete San Mateo 101 express lane corridor is now open and ready to take your money. The transportation officials say these new express lanes stretch along 22 miles in each direction of Highway 101 between the San Mateo-Santa Clara County line to the 380 freeway in South City. All drivers using the express lane have to have a fast track transponder attached with a toll tag or a fast track clean air vehicle toll tag displayed. You don't have it, you don't get to use the lane. Everyone without a fast track toll tag will be in violation, and they're subject to fines and penalties. What do you think the penalties are?
Money.
I'm gonna tell you.
How much?
You don't want to be riding in that lane. Let me tell you. It's as much as a PG&E bill. $581 is the fine. The San Mateo 101 Express Lane project, one of the largest public-private infrastructure partnerships in Bay Area history. $581.
Hold on. Let me make sure that I'm hearing you. So I have to pay $581 if I am in this lane
without a transponder or any way to pay.
Is there any? This blows my. What if people are just totally confused about the lane?
$581 and tell it to the judge, ma'am.
See, this is such BS. It is. We already paid for the friggin' road. Like.
So I'm friends with NBC Bay Area's Janelle Wang on Facebook, and recently she posted this picture. She said she used one of these new express lanes in the South Bay, and it cost her $10.25 to use this lane. She said, express lane sticker shock. She writes, $10.25 to drive in the 101 express lane from Menlo Park to Palo Alto.
That's it?
That's it. 3 exits, 4 miles total at 10 o'clock in the morning. She paid $10.25. I'm telling you, 3 freeway exits, 4 miles at 10 in the morning. And she's like, it's less than $1 as soon as you hit Mountain View. But I guess that area is jam-packed between Menlo Park and Palo Alto, and they're going to get you $10.25. Oh,
that's criminal. That's robbery. I mean, it's literal highway robbery. Look at that. That is awful.
At least it's listed there, so you know how much you're paying, I guess.
But sometimes I remember, because we always used to laugh. I was always so confused about how to use a fast track because I was from the South Bay. It's making its way down here more and more, but it starts more, towards San Francisco and along the peninsula. And so when I had to get a whole new, excuse me, Nugget, would you like to get underneath my desk? There you go. Sorry, my dog. So I had to go get the new fast track transponder because I had the old one where you didn't have like a little slider to switch how many. So I have it now. I have never been able to really use it. I don't think. Oh, you know what friggin' sucks? I just realized I'm going to Sacramento this weekend. It's my daughter's first cheerleading competition.
Yay! I want to come.
So my transponder's in my car that's at the shop.
Uh-oh. Well, you don't really need it. You don't have to. Do you have to? Oh, yeah, you'd have to go over the Carquinez Bridge, right?
I don't know which way I'm going to go.
You could go the long way around, but I would expect that you would go over Interstate 80 along the East Shore Freeway over the Carquinez Bridge. So you would need it. Yeah.
And you need to pay that toll probably 7 days a week, right?
I think so. Yeah. It says
regular
what if
bridge,
I have it?
What if I have the transponder?
Right.
Okay. Like I'm subscribed to the fast track, but I forget the transponder. So they do have something that links to my car. Would I still face the $800?
I think that it attaches to your license plate.
Yeah, so if I don't have it, they just
charge you anyway. Yeah.
But not the $500.
No. The regular fee to cross the bridge.
Okay, I might do that then. And then probably some sort of fine for not having the transponder.
But I think if you go in the toll lane, you need to have your transponder. Don't go in the toll lane, Nikki.
Well, that's what I want to do. What the hell else do I need it for? To pay the bridge toll? Why would you go in the toll?
Yes, the Carquinez Bridge toll. That's right.
Yeah, why would I want to be on the toll lane? Because it's going to be crap weather this weekend, and I want to not be stuck with all the other people. I mean, I've already registered it. I've already registered my fast track. I've used it before. I used it when I was still at Station X.
$581 you're risking. Just telling you.
Well, somebody give me an answer. Like, can I use it? Can I go in the toll lane even without my transponder if my transponder is linked to my license plate? Come on. I can't stop by the shop. It's like in Mountain View or something. I don't even know.
I think it's risky.
I hate that you say that.
I'm sorry, but I feel like you either need to go get it or don't do it. Because this is all new and we don't know. And that's a PG&E bill level fine.
Yeah, no, I ain't paying. I'll be at night court, like somebody said. If your license plate's registered to your fast track, it will charge you. That's what she says.
We'll trust you, Miss Organic. Let's see how that works out.
Anyone want to float me the $500 if Miss Organic is wrong? Anybody want to do that? I'll double check, and I'm sure Google will tell me.
All right, let me tell you the next story. This is in Monterey County, where they are considering whether or not to make cannabis lounges legal.
Oh, come on, help me relax.
Board of Supervisors discussed this yesterday. They heard a presentation about the pros and cons. Most appear to be in support of the cannabis lounge. Some have some concerns. One man who represents Castroville and Aramis says he doesn't want the motto to be "Come to North County if you want to get high."
Oh.
Customers would have to buy the cannabis on the site at the lounge. Apparently, deal with it all there. And here's another story. Lastly, scientists have revealed a once hidden corridor in the Great Pyramid of Giza. An international research team used an imaging method based on cosmic rays to analyze a cavity discovered behind the pyramid's north face in 2016. Egyptian officials announced the findings yesterday outside the 456-foot tall pyramid. The passage is about 6 feet wide and 30 feet long, and officials say it was most likely designed to relieve the weight of the enormous structure that was built as a royal burial chamber around 2500 BC.
That's kind of cool. That's interesting.
It is. This report, sponsored by tax attorney Steve Moskowitz. For more than 30 years, Steve has put his tax knowledge to work for individuals and for businesses. If you have an issue, Steve Moskowitz has the answer and the help you need. He is at 1-888-TAX-STEAL or at moskowitzllp.com. I'm Kim McAllister on the Nikki Medoro Show.com.
Okay, so I'm reading. Jazz hands. I'm reading here. JR says I could go buy a new transponder. See, I have so many questions, and this was what you guys used to laugh at me at Station X about because I'm just not experienced with all this fast track stuff. I could buy a new one at Costco or Walgreens, but here's my question: I'm in a rental. So what do I register to it? Do I register it to my? It won't match my car. Do I register it to my Prius and just act like it's a Prius? What do I do? I don't want to get a transponder for a rental, right?
I don't know the answer.
I have all kinds of questions. Here we go. Jennifer says, I have all my vehicles on one license plate account. No problems or tickets. Plus, it's only charges when I actually go through the toll. I think Jennifer answered my question. So I'll just put it on my Prius and attach it to that license plate and then just hope and pray.
Yeah.
I don't get a $500 bill. Oh, and then Moses, and then you can return it back to Costco when you're done. I swear to God, register your account. Okay, it doesn't have to match your car. It just has to bill you properly. You can take it with you. Done. I love our community. Thank you.
Yeah, I do too.
Oh, and that's a good thing. Ask the rental company their fast track policy. All right, I'll do that as well. Okay, real quickly, I wanted to show you this picture. I felt so bad. We were talking about weddings, and that's why I wanted to add this story. Look at this bride. She invited 88 people to her wedding. Not even 40 people showed up. Anybody ever RSVP yes to a wedding and not show up? And what was the excuse that you had? This is Gray Narvez Dragion, who is transgender, and their husband, Nix. They are going viral after they claim fewer than half the guests RSVP'd for her wedding that she said she spent thousands of dollars on.
Oh, wow.
She said they actually even cut the reception short. They did not do the sparkler send-off, the private dance, or the dinner. They say that they spent most of their money on making soaps, magnets, and spell jars for their guests to take home. And the company's going to keep all of them. She says, looking at our magnets makes me bawl. I can't even use my custom-made soap samples because that makes me cry too. Why
Oh,
didn't they show up? I spent so much effing time trying to make sure everyone felt included. I have never said I was going to go to a wedding and not shown up.
no, that's the height of rude.
It is so
Mhm.
insulting and it is so expensive. Yeah, Kim says never. That is a party foul. If you have to cancel
Mhm.
last minute due to an emergency, you need to have a good excuse. Never RSVP if you have no intention of going. Anybody ever crash a wedding? Anybody have their wedding crash? Did you have wedding crashers at your wedding?
No, but I had one relative request to bring her cousin and their 4 kids.
Okay.
The
And
cousin wasn't technically related to me. It was like a cousin by marriage. And I
okay.
said yes, but I had a really small wedding. And my argument to that bride would be, okay, you invited all these people, so they were important to you. But in the end, the people who prioritize you and who feel you're important to them, those are the people that came. Now
Yeah.
Now you know the people in your life to elevate to a status where you'll always appreciate them and that they're with you, right?
Yeah. I mean, at my wedding, we had like a couple. We had a couple that just showed up even though they weren't technically invited, but
Mhm.
we knew them. It was just we had to keep the numbers down,
Yeah.
and there was room for them. They kind of just sat there. They didn't take any resources or anything, and it was
Yeah.
fine. But it was definitely one of those. It's like, oh, you're here, and it's awkward. It's like, why?
How many people were at your wedding?
218-ish.
What a big one.
Yeah.
Okay.
We had the best wedding. Everybody at my wedding I knew. Everybody at my wedding I was friends with.
Yeah.
One of my favorite pictures from my wedding is just all of our friends that showed up. And to give
Awesome.
you an idea, we probably had 7 rows of people.
Wow.
Like, I mean, it was a lot of people, but it was so
Yeah.
much fun. And we
Yeah.
danced our butts off and we had a DJ. I mean, and you know me, I'm a drinker. I barely was
Mhm.
able to drink anything because I was just too busy dancing. And it was just such a fabulous wedding. It really, really was. I'd get married again, but why pay for it twice?
I had a really small wedding. I had a
Many
destination wedding.
in Hawaii.
On the beach in Maui.
There you go.
And I had about 50 people, a little over 50 people that made the trip. So it was small, and it was the people that I wanted there, you know?
Misha says, I worked with a girl many years ago that had her wedding crashed by Cheech and Chong. Wow.
Okay, that'd
That's
be cool.
awesome. That'd be cool. Exactly. Now, what do you think of this? Mo says, I've heard of where the people who RSVP and do not show will still get a bill for the cost that was incurred.
Equally as tacky.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I feel like just don't be friends with them anymore. I mean, if they're going to stiff you on your wedding, they've told you how good a friend they are to you.
Yeah.
You know?
And if they are still caring about you and something happened and whatever happened and they couldn't come, then a good friend will say, listen, I'm so sorry I didn't make it. I'd like to offer the cost of my plate or whatever that person will offer. But you don't send out a bill for a wedding. That's just a tacky situation. You just know that person really isn't someone you want to include in your life, and off they go.
Speaking about people that you don't want to include in your life, there is this new-ish, I'm going to say ish because I'm sure it's been around a lot longer. I'm just noticing it because it's been in the news lately.
Yeah.
Has anybody in the comments heard of this? Are we dating the same guy?
Not until you mentioned it. No.
I am dying. Okay. So I'm on, and I'm okay. This is the funniest part. I shouldn't even be talking about it. To get into the Facebook group, you're supposed to promise that you're not going to talk about it. Oh, it's like
you're going to be kicked out now. This is it.
Yeah. It's the reason why they don't want you to talk about it is they don't want the men to check. Right. I mean, there's obviously you have to get approved, so not everybody could see it. So there's that sort of thing. Yeah. But so there's a local one. There's a San Francisco Bay Area one because there's all these different chapters all over the country. And what it does is now on my feed, it'll just show a picture and then it'll just say, any tea on this guy? And the most fascinating thing is how many women say, yes, I connected with that guy on Bumble, or I know that guy's my neighbor. And then they're like, he's a great guy, don't worry about it, or hey, like, I think he was dating somebody. There was a sweet one where a girl really liked this guy, but admitted that they were not exclusive. And this is, Kim, this is a world that we're just not part of. We are married ladies. When we got married, dating apps did not exist. But now that they do, this sort of thing is insane. Just how many people know, they're like, oh yeah, that guy popped up on my Tinder, or he swiped right on me, or whatever. But we never, connected. Do you like this idea? I mean, is this just another step of like asking around with your friends? Like, does anybody know this guy? And is he kind of cool? Because I kind of feel it's a little shady. Just a little bit shady.
I think now that we're in the world of electronic dating, right? Of matchmaking services online, there wasn't a friend that set you up. You didn't meet this guy at a party hosted by your buddy. You didn't meet this person at work. You're flying blind. It was a swipe right or whatever it is. And here you are at a bar with this guy and taking everything he or she says at face value. I don't mind a little reconnaissance, a little protect yourself website like this one you're talking about to see, what's going on with this person. But I think also you can't, because of the way you met, you have to be a little more reserved for a second and not just throw your whole heart into something before you really know.
Yeah. Well, and then of course, what is the worst thing that can happen is that you see the guy either that you're dating or married to on these sites. So there's some stories. I'm reading this story in Mashable. There was one woman who discovered her husband was seeing 3 other women across the United States, all of whom posted about him on the group after having an odd gut feeling. Again, there's tons of rules. You can't dox people. You can't take screenshots.
What does that mean?
Doxing means taking like their address or any identifying information and putting it online.
Oh, okay.
So that people can stalk them. Right.
Okay.
Taking screenshots. You can't bully. You can't victim blame. You also can't comment on anyone's physical appearance. You can't use words like ghosted or weird. You can't laugh at something like using the laugh emoji unless it's obviously a joke. So and you can't in the original post put too much detail. It has to be in the comments. So it's like, anybody have any tea, like a teacup or a red flag about this guy? And then in the comments it goes. So it's not really at the top of it.
Okay.
I definitely think that with the rise of catfishing, right? The Tinder swindler, those types of stories, right? There's a lack of trust in a way that people commonly meet nowadays, which is online. It's just, I feel like even though we connect so much online and through social media, the eyeball to eyeball, unless you see eyeball to eyeball, there is still a level of disconnect between you and whoever you might be texting with, Tinder messaging with, or whatever. So
don't you think though, this wife that posted a picture of her husband, she had to have suspicions and a clear lack of trust of her husband.
Excellent.
I mean, I wouldn't even think of going on a site and posting a picture of my husband. And maybe I'm the most naive wife on the planet.
No.
But I'm looking at this guy in the other room working from home thinking he doesn't have time to go do anything like it. But maybe we should all be on the website posting a picture. Here's my husband. Seen this guy around?
That's the whole thing. It's kind of like when if you're sneaking into your partner's cell phone or you're reading their email without them knowing.
What does that say about your relationship?
Yeah. If you've done that already, then there's already a problem. You don't need to go any further because you already don't trust the person that you're with. Now, my face opens up my husband's phone, right? My fingerprint. Like there's no hiding. I have nothing to hide. So if you are hiding something, or if you're really upset, or all of a sudden your partner's like, why are you looking at my phone? There's your red flag.
Okay, so this kind of gets me to those accounts. And I'm sorry if anybody has one in the chat or that's watching.
Oh.
But you see these people that have email addresses, Facebook accounts, where it's like Chris and Mike. And it's like, why don't you have individuals? Do you not trust each other enough so that you have to have access to each other's Facebook and social media? And you're telling the world that by having this joint account. It's a little strange.
Well, I will say this. This is what I think. I think it's 2 groups of people. 1, there was some cheating going on or mistrust, and so they have the same account. And 2, older people. Like I could totally,
And
even though my parents don't and they never have, I could see older people being like, we don't need two. We just need
we
the
all know all the
grandkids.
same people.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
we know the same people, so
Yeah.
it's like an ease thing. So
Right.
I would say of a certain age, and then there was some sort of mistrust. But my thing is, okay, so you have your joint account. What stops one of the people from creating another account by themselves? It's stupid. It is just another way of showing that you don't fully trust somebody.
Well, I guess if someone created a solo account, you would have to go and the other party found it, they would, it would be like an immediate red flag, right?
Yeah,
Like,
possibly.
we made a deal to have this together, and
How
now I
could
see
you?
you've got one by yourself, and it looks like your picture. What's going on, buddy?
Wes says, I'd like to know what percentage of is of long-term relationships meeting online versus traditional ways. I'm sure it's tipping in the online. I'm sure it's totally tipping in that area. I mean, I think more and more you ask people, how did you meet? And it's through an online dating site or on social media or a friend of a friend that I saw on social media or something like that. And I'm not knocking it. I'm not going to yuck the dating yum, as they say, but I'm glad I didn't grow up in that generation. I met my husband through one of my close friends. She was like really good friends with him. And we met that way. And I met a lot of my friends that way.
Your close friend is not going to steer you wrong, right? If there was something hanky about the guy, they would say, I see you guys have a connection, but I want you to know,
right?
Here's the dirt on this person. So maybe don't invest heavily. But I met my husband online. So
you see, did I know that? I don't know if I knew that.
It was the beginning of the internet. I mean, this was a long time ago. As a matter of fact, this is weird. It was the first time I was ever on the internet. And it was the
first time you met your husband?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It was a chat room on IRC. So the computer didn't even have pictures yet. Right. It was all like commands that you had to know. Okay. And so there was someone at my workplace was showing me what the computer could do and how you could get into it. And so he logged into a chat thing and I started chatting, and that's where I met David. I point to the other room.
What were you chatting about?
Oh, that's a secret. I will say it was at a workplace, so nothing that bad, right? Yeah.
That's a cute story. I love that story. That's awesome.
Hey, Julia, come say hi.
Oh, Julia's there.
Julia's here today. She might not want to come in. She tried to play the flute on the Mark Thompson show, and I wouldn't let her.
Why wouldn't you let her play the flute?
It's not really, I think this is a more kid-friendly show where I would say, come say hi. But on the Mark Thompson show...
Like children, huh? Are you starting the whole room?
No, actually, he's really, really nice to my kids, I have to say. Oh, and they brought me food. Say hi to Nikki.
Hi, Nikki. I wasn't trying to play the flute.
Oh.
I was just
clarifying.
Practicing
the
beat.
She was practicing the beat. Yeah.
I couldn't play
God, get it right, Mom. Get it
Whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
Jesus, Lord Almighty, how could you?
Yeah. Chaos at the house. Yeah. I'm like, out now. Bye. I got dogs. I got kids. I got everything else.
All right. Well, we got Tim Sika waiting in the wings, so let's do a couple of headlines.
Okay.
I do want to get to this other thing, but maybe we'll have to save it for Monday. But if we have time, we'll do it. Well, I'll just tease it right now. I don't know if it's in your news, but or if you've already done it, I apologize. But Sunday, you know what ends on Sunday?
No.
And something that I absolutely love to see every time I go to San Francisco. Do you know what it is?
No.
The Bay Lights. The Bay Bridge lights are going
dark. I thought they were fundraising. Did they not raise enough money to keep it going?
They still are, but they're definitely trying to make them more durable. That's just basically the story. I'm done. 25,000 LEDs are on there, and they're just the wind, the rain, the ocean, but it's just damaging them quicker than they can replace them. And so they are trying to raise money. They have a crowdfunding going on. They want to raise $10 million in $1 million gifts. To bring the lights back. They want to get $11 million. The company's Illuminate, and if they secure it, the plan is to install 50,000 custom LEDs, which would actually make the artwork more visible. But right now, if you want to see it, Today and tomorrow's it because they go dark.
Oh, well, that would be the end of an era. I hope
know,
they raise
10
enough money to
years.
get
I think it's
that.
the anniversary of the 10 years that it's been up, and they have to take them down. So it's just gorgeous, and I love seeing them. All right, Tim Sika is going to join us in a minute right after News with Kim.
Now, from around the world to up your street, the Nikki Medoro Show presents News Czar Kim McAllister.
And this report sponsored by tax attorney Steve Moskowitz at 888 Tax Deal. I'll keep it short because I know we have Tim Sika, and it's one of my favorite segments of the week. So I want to get right to it. But the Department of Water Resources found a mountain of snow at today's manual snow survey. DWR crews fanned out to the snow course at Phillips Station near Lake Tahoe. They found a snow depth of 166.5 inches for a water equivalent of 41.5 inches. That is good for 177% of average for March 1st at that location. The network of remote automated sensors also showed the statewide snowpack at 190% above average for this date, the total just behind the all-time record set in 1982 and 83. Acting California governor, because Governor Gavin Newsom is away, Eleni Kounalakis, signed legislation today to help maintain the state's coronavirus preparedness. As you know, at the end of February, the state's emergency declaration expired. But the new law codifies 2 emergency waivers regarding COVID lab testing and therapeutics. The law now gives lab personnel permission to continue solely processing coronavirus tests, and it permits testing sites contracted with the State Department of Public Health to keep on giving out those therapeutics until January of 2024. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis accusing members of his own party of sitting back like potted plants while the culture war debates. Speaking to top GOP donors, DeSantis calling out Republicans for not doing more to push back against so-called woke ideology. We're going to hear a lot about woke in this upcoming election, I'll tell you. Get ready for it. Michigan State University is awarding posthumous degrees to the 3 students who were killed in a February shooting. The school says they will honor the legacies of Ariel Anderson, Brian Fraser, and Alexandria Verner by awarding the degrees at the spring commencement. So what a nice moment to honor them and remember them after what happened there. Oh, a funner story now, because this is going to be quite a sight. Maybe I'll show some pictures on Monday, but Elvis fans and impersonators alike might want to head to Memphis, Tennessee this weekend. That's because today marks the first day of the Ultimate Elvis Tribute Artist Weekend. It is described as 3 days of jumpsuits, blue suede shoes, and black leather. So, way to go. This report sponsored by tax attorney Steve Moskowitz. For more than 30 years, Steve has put his tax knowledge to work for individuals and for businesses. If you need help with your taxes, Steve can do the job. At 888 Tax Deal, you can reach him, or moskowitzllp.com. I'm Kim McAllister on The Nikki Medoro Show.
There we go. All right, yeah, give Steve a call, our founding sponsor. We appreciate him so much, as we appreciate the one, the only, Tim Sika, who joins us to talk movies every Friday. Hey, Tim.
Gee. Hi. How can I live up to that introduction?
I know. For you, it is one of our favorite segments because I love finding things to watch. And what I love about it this time, Tim, is a lot of the things that you're reviewing, we can actually stream.
Yes.
So that's always fun. But I want to start with the stuff that's in theaters first. And I was getting the pictures together because that's where I was. Let's start with this movie, which, I mean, look at this. I'm a Rocky fan. I grew up watching Rocky, so obviously this is now from Apollo Creed. Creed 3, though, is the third one.
Yeah, right. The third Creed movie, which is a spin-off, as you mentioned, Nikki, of the Rocky movies. This is like the 9th in the franchise. And honestly, I had no idea where they were going to take this entry, but Creed 3 felt to me like Rocky coming full circle, and I'll try to explain that without giving too much away. Even though this is, I think, the only one of the 8 Rocky movies where Sylvester Stallone doesn't appear, although he was one of the producers on this movie. But anyway, it stars Michael B. Jordan as Adonis Creed, a.k.a. Donnie Creed. He's the illegitimate son of Apollo Creed, who Rocky Balboa fought in the first 2 Rocky movies, for anybody who may have forgotten. And Jordan also directs. He makes this his directorial debut, and he does a really impressive job, both in the directing as well as in the acting departments. He's a really fine actor, and he's great here. But he understands the camera, and this is a really good script. It mixes a dramatic personal story with sports and with boxing. So as the movie begins, Donnie Creed, he's retired. He's won, 27 out of 28 boxing bouts, and he retires as the world champion so he could spend more time with his family. And the plot thickens when an old boxing friend of his is released from prison, reestablishing contact with him, and visits him, attempting to get the friendship going again. And that's really all I should say about the plot. Jonathan Majors of the recent biographical war film, that's what it is, it's biographical war film, Devotion, plays Donnie's released from prison friend, and Tessa Thompson plays his wife, and they're both terrific. This is a sports movie. There's the requisite boxing scenes here, which are almost staged in a kind of operatic fashion. They veer from like overtly stylized and brutal to kind of what you might actually see watching two guys duking it out in the ring at a regular boxing match. Then it kind of veers towards like shades of The Matrix, like slow-mo. And the punches, the punches in these movies are so heightened, they're so loud and crunch like you think, God, one punch like that would give anybody like an immediate concussion. But this is the movies, right? So you just kind of go with that. And this is a very good movie. It's well directed, well acted, and it's got a great story about family, friendship, and forgiveness, all wrapped up in a knockout sports picture. So
I love it.
Yeah. If you love Rocky.
I love Rocky. I mean, honestly, I love Rocky 1 through 4. Those are my favorites. Then I kind of started veering off. I watched the Creed movies, but I should watch them all again. I know you don't need to watch Creed 3, but
yeah, you really don't. It's almost like a self-contained
right.
You didn't like Rocky Balboa, huh? I think that was the first one. Oh, okay. Why?
No. With Tommy the Gun. I was not happy about that one.
Okay, well.
No, Apollo. I mean, Rocky 1 and Rocky 2, probably my top favorites.
Those are great movies.
Apollo Creed.
Yeah,
one with the Russian. I think that was 3. Yeah, I think that was 3. That's the one where I'm giving spoilers if you haven't seen Rocky by this point, but that's the one where Apollo Creed dies. I just love Rocky. It's just me, my brother, my parents, we would just always watch Rocky growing up. So
they're terrific movies. Yeah, well, the first one won the Oscar.
And Sylvester Stallone that was his first director.
First, right? He was nominated for Best Actor. He lost, but and the movie won all the top prizes that year. It was understandably really so. Yeah,
exactly. All right, so let's move on to Operation Fortune.
Yes, this is a Guy Ritchie movie, and
I like Guy Ritchie.
You do, yeah.
I do.
Yeah. No, I do too. Yeah, this was in the tradition of his first debut movie as a writer-director. Was called Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels. That's a good one. And this is the actual title for this is Operation Fortune Rue de Guerre, which I didn't want to say it. I was going to. I know. I can barely say it. It's French, and in English it means like ruse of war, which is like a term implying military deception, and it's sort of like the ends justifies the means strategy against one's enemies. So anyway, this is an action spy comedy drama about a spy named Orson Fortune, played by Jason Statham, who's
I love him.
Yeah, isn't he? Yeah, he's great. He's been in a number of Guy Ritchie movies, and he's given this mission to retrieve a stolen hard drive before it gets into the open market and into the wrong hands for reasons best left undiscussed here. I don't want to give anything away. So it's this action-packed, bullet-ridden, violent saga of, blackmail and government chicanery and CIA type of behind-the-scenes intrusion and duplicity, and the Ukrainian mafia. Lots of carnage, which is kind of leveled out a bit by some of the comedy, which involves Orson Fortune's wisecracking assistant, played by Aubrey Plaza, who's in season 2 of The White Lotus. She figures very prominently, and she's so good. She should be in everything. Josh Hartnett is in this. You don't see much of him these days. He plays this Tom Cruise-like actor who's being blackmailed by the British government, and he's forced into participating in this hard drive retrieval mission. And Hugh Grant, who plays he plays like through clenched teeth this billionaire oligarch arms dealer, and they're all terrific. All of these actors, especially Hugh Grant, who's really amusing. And watching him here, you wish he would do more and be in more movies. But anyway, this is not the best Guy Ritchie movie I've seen because, but it moved along nicely enough. The characteristic Guy Ritchie energy kind of wavers a bit, but all in all, it was reasonably entertaining. It's disposable, but it's escapist action thriller fare. You can do a lot worse.
Okay.
Yeah. And Jason Statham, man, he is made for a spy that was like James Bond on steroids.
Yeah, and he's like he's very easy on the eyes too, Tim. So that's
Well, he's you know what he's got a lot of hair. I'll say that.
On his face, maybe.
On his face and on his body, not on his head, but
not on
his
head. There you go. All right.
Yeah.
This one looks fun. Now we're going to get into the streaming. So this is really exciting for people that maybe don't want to go to the movies or what have you. Let's start with Seriously Red.
What's interesting about that, Kim mentioned in the news about this the tribute artist thing that's going on in Memphis with Elvis.
Right. Yeah.
That's what this kind of is. It's an Australian comedy about a woman played by Australian actress Crew Boyland, who I've never seen before, but she's really, really good. And she plays this character. She can't seem to fit in anywhere. She keeps getting fired from her jobs in real estate and all this stuff. So she decides to risk everything and become a Dolly Parton impersonator because, she's been a Dolly Parton fan ever since she was a little kid. So she partners up with this guy played by Daniel Weber, who is a Kenny Rogers impersonator. And so they kind of join forces and they become a hit on the road. An imitation Dolly Parton and an imitation Kenny Rogers in this world of tribute performers, which is this thing. Kim mentioned it, where there's they have all these Elvis impersonators.
Yeah.
In fact, Rose Byrne plays an Elvis impersonator in this movie. It's very weird, but anyway. So these two people, they not only go on the road together as Dolly Parton and Kenny Rogers, but they also become romantically involved with each other, but as imitation Dolly Parton and imitation Kenny Rogers. There's this meta weird scene in the movie where these two people make out with the fake versions of each other. Ew. In other words, the impersonators start a relationship which is not based on who they are, but on their impersonator identities. Anyway, so it's kind of like a gender identity comedy. There's some really interesting elements. Yeah, it's a lot of stuff kicking around. If you love Dolly Parton, you got to see this because there's Dolly Parton songs and this Dolly Parton wisdom. And
okay. I mean, I like Dolly Parton. Did you ever see... What was that one? Oh, I shouldn't even bring it up because now I'm brain farting on it.
You sound like me. 9 to 5. It's not 9 to 5.
Is that the one with the log cabin Christmas? What are you thinking?
No. I'm thinking about this one where it was a young girl and she was obsessed with Dolly Parton because her aunt who died was. It's a more recent movie. Anyways, it was really cute. It wasn't like
I did see that movie. It was like a coming of age movie. Yeah. That was really cute. Yeah,
but it had a lot of Dolly Parton in it, and so that's why I was just thinking about it. But I'm pretty excited right now. Okay, let's go to a rom-com. Your Place or Mine?
Kim McAllister. Now listen to Your Place or Mine. We've got 2 rom-coms on the list this week.
I have seen this movie.
Yeah, you have.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Uh-huh. Well, it's Reese Witherspoon, Ashton Kutcher. They play best friends who had a hookup 20 years ago, which was very intense for sure, but which also never really led to a marriage or a relationship partnership per se, but which formed the basis of a 20-year best friendship, even though Reese lives in LA and Ashton lives in New York. And so what happens is that Reese is supposed to go to New York for some kind of class, and at the last minute, her babysitter bails. She has a 13-year-old son. So Ashton winds up coming out to LA to watch her kid for a week while Reese stays at his New York apartment while she's going to class. And this is a good romantic comedy. It's good because you're invested in what happens to these characters. It's not only the Reese and Ashton Kutcher characters, but that you come to care about. But there's a supporting cast of characters, their friends and stuff, who are really amusing, very interesting, and that you come to root for. Very good scripts, got snappy dialogue where everybody talks fast and they have a quick comeback for every verbal zinger that's flung at them. It's like people talk in this movie like the way you wish you talked in real life. It's a smart movie, it's a funny movie. Nobody is a better screen comedian than Reese Witherspoon. She knows how to deliver comedy lines so well, where she makes scripted lines of dialogue seem like she's improvising, but it's scripted dialogue. And the outcome's predictable, but the plotting of the outcome kind of throws you off just enough to keep you interested. So I really liked it, and I'm not, as you ladies both know, I'm not a big rom-com person.
Yeah, I liked it too. I thought it was really cute and different.
Yeah.
What I read about this movie is because they were for most of the film and located in different places, they didn't spend much time together.
They hardly spent any time, I think, except probably the last scene of the movie.
Oh wow, that's saying a lot about the acting chops of both of the actors.
Oh
right?
yeah,
but I thought it was cute, and for a rom-com, definitely different. It's not your whole run-of-the-mill thing, so I liked it. And I want to say that the movie that you were thinking of, Nikki, is Dumpling.
Dumpling. Oh, it's so good.
Oh, Dumpling.
Yes, that's one I know.
I know of it. I did not see it.
Oh, you have to watch it.
Yeah,
it's so cute.
Yeah,
it's entertaining. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really well done. Okay, somebody I used to know.
Yeah, this is the second.
Kim.
What?
Kim's fighting me with the pictures. Here we go. I got to do it. There you go.
Okay. Yes. This is directed. It's a rom-com. It's directed by actor Dave Franco, brother of James, both of whom hail from Palo Alto. So there's a local angle here, and it's co-written by Dave Franco and his wife, actress Alison Brie, who also stars in this movie as this woman who 10 years ago, she left her small town to go to LA, where she became host of a successful baking show.
I saw this movie. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Remember, the baking show is called Desert Island. Get it?
Yeah.
Anyway, after 3 seasons, the show gets canceled. So she goes back to her small hometown to rethink her life. And while she's there, she kind of rekindles this relationship with this guy she probably would have married had she stayed there and not left for greener pastures, or pastures she thought were greener. And this movie's got trashed by the critics. I think it's one of the best romantic comedies that I've ever seen. I thought it was. You didn't like it?
I mean, it was cute. It's a little. You know what my problem was? I didn't really like the main character, the main actress.
Okay.
I don't like her.
She had a negative Nelly thing going on. Yeah. She was like, "Oh, everything's about me." She kind of grated on my nerves a bit too, but I did like the story.
Yeah, the story was interesting.
See, I thought she was kind of interesting, but
it was interesting. But I love the actor's name. I'm blanking on him. He's been in other stuff, and I really like him. But her character, I did not like.
Here's the thing. I thought it was a mature. See, to my mind, it was like, if such a thing exists, a realistic rom-com that's about discovering who you are as a person separate from the person you may wind up sharing your life with. And I liked that. I mean, I thought there was a lot of truth in the movie, that notion of being of like, beware of wishing for anything when you're young, because you're going to get it when you're older, or people wanting something to replace the thing they lost. But when they thought what was lost was found again, they no longer wanted the something they originally thought they wanted, if that makes any sense, and how that affects everything and everybody else around you. So I kind of liked Allison.
I was not bored. I
watched the whole movie.
I just didn't care for her. Yeah.
Where it fell short was you have to like her, because she's full on crazy ex-girlfriend. So you have to have some feeling for her. Like,
this is interesting. No,
I see where she's going, but she is nuts in this movie.
This is like, this is the woman's perspective and this is the man's perspective. I thought she was really cute. Anyway,
how the psycho chick won't leave? I'm like, why are you here?
She was not a psycho chick. Come on.
What she did?
Oh my God! She's showing up to everything. No. With is it giving it away to say?
Yeah, I don't give too much.
Okay. But she shows up to things she really has no business.
Should not be.
I know, but I know. Yeah, that was crappy behavior. But she learned from that. Okay.
Oh yeah. So,
what's the Mike Myers, and Dana Carvey crazy ex-girlfriend?
Oh, there you go. Yeah. That's pretty much it.
No, I guess so. I mean, when I think of that, I think she was. I don't know, but I just bought it. I just believed all of it. Maybe I knew too many women like that. Anyway, let's talk about another movie here.
All right. Now let's talk about pornography or sex scenes. I don't know. This one's called Body Parts. Tim.
Yeah. This is a very interesting, highly charged movie. It's a documentary, and at first I thought it was about filming sex scenes in movies.
Yeah.
Documentary. And, I suppose it's not uncommon knowledge that the experience of shooting a sex scene is the least sexy thing in the world. Every actor I've ever talked to, I've even been on sets where there was the full-on sex scenes, and they're kind of boring. Anyway, that's a part of this movie, but it's mostly about how women have been, how women are, and how women continue to be objectified in movies. And the tagline of the film, this is kind of a paraphrase of what I can remember. The tagline declared that movies have been dominated by the male gaze for decades. Of course, we all know that that's true. And this movie, Body Parts, shows the evolution of desire and sex the way we see it on screen. But this movie is seeing it from a female perspective. And if the movie is about anything, this was my takeaway anyway, it's about the emergence of women in Hollywood. And it talks about how the movies have shaped our views about sex, men showing other men really what they see in their depiction of sexual scenes between men and women, what many women have gone through, many actresses have gone through, shooting nude scenes in Hollywood pictures, lots of horror stories there. And some are recounted in this movie, how some actresses, while they're doing these sex scenes, they just go into this disassociative mood because they just want it to be over, so they kind of blank out. We learn about body doubles and what they do and how they function, what their function is in shooting sex scenes. I mean, talk about using these women as pieces of meat, because they'll say, I want a breast here. Oh, I want a leg. I want the buttocks. Where's the buttocks? The body double. I mean, it's mentioned in the movie too that the SAG-AFTRA, the basic agreement for actors, is like 180 pages long, but nudity is like half a page. So the movie talks about, the role of the intimacy coordinator on a set where a sex scene is being filmed. That job being apparently, I think, compared to like a stunt coordinator on a movie set. So there's lots covered in this movie. It's actually all over the place, but it's good nevertheless, because it really makes you think about stuff. It reminded me of, was a Nina Menkes documentary that came out last year. It was called Brainwashed, Sex Camera Power, which was about the gendered nature of film language and how a lot of famous scenes in movies directed by some of the world's greatest filmmakers, all male, of course, were seen through the male gaze. Now after I watched that movie, I thought, oh my God, I don't even know if I should be liking these movies anymore, because they really are.
Makes you think.
Yeah. So anyway, it's thought-provoking.
It's worth watching then, huh, Tim?
Absolutely. And it's streaming on a bunch of services. I think I saw it on Amazon Prime. But,
all right, perfect. Tim, somebody's asking Tim if you have a YouTube channel or station. Where can people hear more of you besides our show?
You know what? They can go on SoundCloud. Tim Sika, Celluloid Dreams, the movie show on SoundCloud, and all my junk is up there.
Oh, perfect. And it's not junk. We love having you on the show, Tim.
Yeah.
We love Fridays with you. Again, you basically gave all thumbs up to Creed, Operation Fortune, Seriously Red, Your Place or Mine, Somebody I Used to Know, and Body Parts. I will link those in the comments. I'll put them in the show notes as well.
Okay,
Tim
and you know what? As far as somebody I used to know, I guess there's no accounting for taste, right?
Well, I think that we're just women, Tim, and we just
Well, you made a lot lot of good points. Yeah, you did make a lot of good points. Okay.
We'll see you next Friday, Tim.
All right,
Thank you so much.
Take care.
So there's Tim Sika for you. Yeah, Celluloid Dreams. Sika, Sika. You could just find him on SoundCloud. And
but you know what's cool is that exclusively here on YouTube, he's the movie reviewer here on the Nikki Medoro Show. So that was a huge get for us, I think.
Yes, exactly. And I love his take on it. But that movie, I agree with you, Kim. That chick was fat as crazy.
Oh my God. She was nuts. It's a problem when you like another character that you're not supposed to like as much as her more.
Yeah, exactly.
But I see what he's saying. Like in a storytelling mode, it would probably win awards for having a problem, a self-discovery, finding your way at the end, what you learn. Yeah, but I think you have to buy into the characters, and it didn't have that total picture for me.
No, it did not.
No.
All right, it's Global Day of Unplugging. There is no way in HE double hockey sticks I'll be able to do that. I don't even think in this day and age, Kim, if I didn't answer my phone when my children called me, they think that there was something wrong, like there was something happening. But if you can, please do take notes, and I want to hear from you on Monday. It starts at sundown today, and it goes to sundown tomorrow. You're supposed to just turn off all your electronics, do it all. I'm not unplugging. With this job and always being on, I know it's an excuse. How about this? I'll try to do less.
Yeah.
I'll try to do less, but I'm going to pull out my phone. My daughter's going to be in her first cheerleading competition tomorrow, Kim. I will take tons of video. I'm hoping.
Send me pictures. I want pictures and video. Send it to me.
I know. Just fingers crossed I don't get a $500 bill in the toll lane. How about that? All right. We'll have a fabulous show. Thank you, everybody. If you could click that thumbs up before we leave, that would be very much appreciated. Oh, I want to give some thank yous. Thank yous. Joe Fong with a $10 super sticker. Thank you, Joe. Brady Fischler with a $10 super sticker. Brady, I love the fact that you're joining our show and seeing your name there. James Buchanan with a $5 donation. Lori above the bar, $20. Go to the Red Jack Saloon in San Francisco. Get a Medoro Mule. It's fabulous. It's a great cocktail. Ryan, I love you. Thank you so much for a $10 donation. Lynn Love, I love your name. And I love the $5 super sticker. Thank you. And then Wes, a $5 super sticker from you and $10 super sticker from Kathleen Bryant. We appreciate you all. Thank you so much for all the donations, all the support.
Yeah,
please
really
consider
nice.
becoming a Patreon Medorable. Become a Medorable. We love it. TheNikkiMedoroShow.com is where our Patreon link is, and you can donate any amount. We love it. Pick up some merch at the Nikki Medoro shop, and then the PayPal donation email is TheNikkiMedoroShow@gmail.com. Have a fabulous weekend, Kim. Have a fabulous weekend, everybody. Talk to you on Monday. Bye.
Nikki, you're all so awesome. You sprout like a beautiful blossom. You're also the best. I really can't rest. You're all so awesome.
Wow. Okay.